Become the voice, become the mission. Born here or born afar. If you love this land, don't have faith in politicians.
Just looking on that X and thinking back to a couple of days before Christmas, when it became sort of exposed that there'd been a terror plot in Manchester where two Islamists had loads of guns, different sorts of weaponry, ammunition, and basically it had been foiled by special services. And then a couple of days later I'm reading the paper and it's a guy who used to be a member of ISIS, I think it was, and he was turned by MI6, and he says it's only a matter of time before there's a British 9/11.
Is the United Kingdom heading towards a mass casualty terror attack on the scale of 9/11? Speaking to a British tabloid, The Sun, a former Al-Qaeda member who later became a spy for Britain's intelligence service says that the UK likely hosts hundreds of sleeper agents prepared to, quote-unquote, unleash devastation whenever called upon, further claiming that the question is no longer if such an attack happens, rather it's about when.
As it is at the moment, it'd probably be false flagged as the Russians, wouldn't it? But he says, yeah, the Islamists, he said there are hundreds in this country intent on causing carnage. And that's an ex-ISIS man. And I just think, you know, when you get the government saying we're going to bring in laws to prevent Islamophobia, you know, a fear, an irrational fear of Islam. How many terror attacks have got to be directly attributed to Islam before it becomes a genuine fear, a quite rational fear? How many? Because 73% of the world's terror attacks since I think it was 1979 obviously isn't enough. It's not enough. Will the government say when we get up to 85%, it'll be a rational fear? Or will it still be irrational if it gets up to 99%? I just don't get it. I've been in the police force and I saw the two-tier police and I saw how we've got to treat them with kid gloves. I hadn't realised at the time it was probably because of votes. People didn't want to upset them because of votes, and they are a volatile community, aren't they? They're not the religion of peace, not in any way, shape or form.
Enforce the Muslims to take up their British values. Now we don't like your culture. We don't like your gambling and your homosexuality and your promiscuity and your man-made laws. We don't like that. I think what we've got is better. We'll keep to that. No thanks. We believe that Islam is the best way of life, and the Islamic way of life is the best. The Sharia is the best law, and we believe sovereignty is only for Allah, and this is why we stick firm to it.
The future is ours. America will be a Muslim country. Russia will be a Muslim country. Islam will enter every house. We have to be a part of that change and never ever apologize. We're unapologetic. Never ever compromise. We're uncompromising.
So if they have authority in their hands, we will take it from them. How? Simple, brother. We conquer America, we conquer Britain, we conquer Belgium, we conquer the West, and we take this technology for ourselves. Simple.
So never give your food to any kafir. I'd never give my food to any kafir. That's right. I had some Takkars, they will come to work for me a couple of months ago. They're going to be coming, some new ones are coming now to work for me soon. We're going to pick them up for about 20 quid a day. Yeah? They came to work for me and they were in the garden. I don't offer none of my food. I sat there in my kitchen, I was eating my chutney, masala and my rice, and I'm not going to give them none of my food. But Rasulullah said, do not let anybody enter your home but a Muslim. He said, if he comes to work for you, treat him like your slave. This is the words of Rasulullah. He said, treat him like your slave. Yeah? So they, wait, do that job. Wait, there's a spot over there. That's it. Carry on.
700 years of our trial to conquer Europe by force failed. They did something wrong, very wrong. They tried for many years to conquer Europe through wars, only wars.
This is the soft Islamic conquest of the West. Basically, what the Islamic and again, I'm an Orthodox Muslim. What we couldn't do in the last, say, 20 years, now the West is doing it for us for free and even paying for it.
Allah permitted them to live off the infidel while they are subduing them. So it had sort of a parasitic type of attitude where they can live off of the host country, where their goal is to eventually eradicate the host culture and supplant it with Islam.
But when you say, like you said in your speech in France, you said things like, "We will conquer the world. We will have the flag at the White House." You got to understand, people get, they get scared of that. They get pushed back from that. I mean, you're saying we're going to take over your country, and maybe you're not saying that, but maybe Quran says that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that. Why? Of course, my Quran said it, and I'm repeating it. Of course, we will take over. Of course, we will take over. But just if we look at the numbers, of course, we will take over. Could you imagine that 44 countries, amongst them the strongest countries on earth, America, 44 countries, they went to a bunch of Muslims with old Kalashnikovs. They're fighting for almost 12 years now. Did they win anything? No, these Muslims are taking over in Afghanistan. Could you imagine that the strongest army on earth, if we say the air, the power on air, the air bases, it's Israel. They have, I don't know what kind of weapons that they have, the most sophisticated weapons. They're fighting against a bunch of Muslims with stones, rocks, thrown at them, and they're still winning every day, or still living every day. So of course that we will win. Can't you ask yourself a question? How does it come that the strongest places of the strongest countries on earth, they can't take over some parts of the world? That's a question to ask.
You brought up Israel. What's your position on Israel?
Yeah, we want to wipe Israel from the map. In 2 words, of course. We hate Israel. We don't recognize Israel and the flag of Israel. Israel can go to hell, like the flag of Israel can go to hell. And with the will of Allah, we will go and we will pray in Jerusalem as an Islamic state with the Sharia implemented. Of course, if Netanyahu wants to be there, he could be there, but I think the best thing for him is to move to America. I think the best friend of Israel is America, so let them move to America.
If someone in their own community wants to do whatever they want to do, happy days. But when you're in a country where you've got a democracy and laws, live by them. Don't say, "Oh, I want Sharia law." Don't say, "I want this, I want that." Live by the laws. Work your religion around it. And I just want a government, any government, I don't care what their rosette or label is, to say, right, enough's enough. Enough is enough. We've had one terror attack too many. If most Muslims are peaceful, which I'm sure they are, and I've met some lovely Muslims, let them get to grips with the nut jobs, the killers, the insane maniacs in their communities who spread hate, who spread a version of the Quran which is anything but peaceful. Let them get to grips with it, and let our government get to grips with it. Start busting mosques where this sort of thing's taught.
يعني وأيضا ينبغي على البنت ألا تلبس لباسا فاضحا أمام أبيها. يا جماعة، بعض البنات أحيانا تكون في شبابها وجسمها جميل أحيانا ونحو ذلك، وتلبس لباسا ضيقا من هالبنطلونات والبلايز القصيرة وتخرج إلى أبيها. برضو أبوها شاب، إذا سلم عليها وقبلها أو ضمها يكون
يعني ربما أن الشيطان يؤزه لبعض الأمور.
فأنا أدعو أيضا مثل هذه البنت وغيرها إذا كانت يعني في مرحلة شبابها ألا تلبس لباسا سيئا أمام أبيها، أو ربما أبرزت شيئا من ثديها أو نحو ذلك بناء
على أنه أبوها، لكن يبقى أن هذا الأب شاب،
فلا يجوز لها أن تلبس اللباس الضيق.
الأمر الثاني، لا تخلو بأبيها، لا تجلس لوحدهم في غرفة. لوحدهما ولا
إنما تحرص أن تكون الأم موجودة أو إخوانها موجودون أو نحو ذلك إلى أن ييسر الله تعالى لها وتتزوج.
It is from our religion that we have to hate them for the sake of Allah.
Al-adawa, enmity and hatred, meaning we're enemies. Let's not beat around the bush. We don't love each other. We're not on the same page. We are not friends. Does that make sense? We are enemies.
The kuffar. We hate the kuffar for the sake of Allah. Because why? Because they disbelieve in Allah.
Loving the Muslims and hating the non-Muslims. Being loyal to the Muslims and not being loyal to the non-Muslims.
This is the highest branch of Iman. That you love and you hate for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, a kafir, a non-believer, a non-Muslim. We hate him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason being is because he's upon kufr.
When you say clearly and openly that I hate shirk and I hate the mushrikeen, I'm being open. I'm being honest. You're telling the disbeliever, you're telling the people of shirk and kufr, I don't like you, I hate you because Allah hates you. And you're being honest. You're not hiding. You're not being two-faced. So they should appreciate this.
Hated? Why? Because no matter what they did, they're still kuffar. They took her in. They took the Muslims in. They treated them with respect and protected them. They wouldn't surrender them. Yet she still referred to them as the people hated, meaning the people we hate. The deen in Tawheed remains a barrier no matter what good they do. Bara'a from a kafir, even if he's good to you and gives you.
Start arresting preachers that are spreading this sort of hate. Stop turning your back on it. Stop blaming the far right for someone shooting up a synagogue and shouting Allah Akbar. You know, it's just ridiculous the lengths that the elites are going to protect a doctrine, and it is a doctrine because you can leave a religion without having your life threatened. Just start standing up for our values, for democratic values. And yes, some of our governments have been horrendous, and government shouldn't be in the Middle East, although they are for the oil. But the average man in the street, the average man and woman in the street have had enough, absolutely enough of Islam. I'll always call it out if they bring a law in or not, because if you've got terrorists and their own community aren't policing them, then someone needs to police them. I listen to Muslim leaders in the United Arab Emirates. They won't put up with it, nor Saudi Arabia. All the scumbags, all the nut jobs seem to be here because we're so soft, because we put up with them and we let them arrive without documents and give them a hotel room when they get here.
This may be contentious, but let me be clear. Extremists exist in every religion, every ethnicity, every community, but they're not the real danger. The danger is the silence. Now that imam who jokes about treating non-Muslims as slaves, he is fringe. But what gives him the legitimacy is the silence of those who know it's wrong and do nothing. Now this isn't about Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus or Sikhs. It's about all of us. Our communities are more diverse than ever, and silence is becoming the enemy of true democracy. If we truly want healthier societies, we need the courage to speak when silence feels easier, because silence will divide, but it's our collective voice that can stitch us back together again. If you're interested and you want to find out more, come to the Global Indian Network and check out my latest article.
Sorry, someone needs to speak out. I don't think it'll be Farage. I don't believe what he says. Certainly won't be Labour, the Tories, the Greens. The Greens love them, don't they? More terrorists the better by the sounds of old Zach. Lib Dems, nah, WF puppets as well. So I think we've just got really to rely on Ben Habib, who seems to say it like it is. Fingers crossed that party grows and fingers crossed someone saves us before civil war, because that would be horrendous. Who wants that? I'm sure most ordinary law-abiding Muslims don't want it, and nor do most law-abiding non-Muslims. Let's pray, ironically.
Did Muhammad behead people? Yes, he did. Did he force people to convert to Islam? Yes, he did. Did he marry a 6-year-old? Yes, he did. I think God is the totality of the consciousness in the universe. So the people that are born in Iran under the Islamic Republic, they might not know it, but they are either mentally ill or brainwashed to some extent. Iran could have been Dubai times 1,000. I always say this. Iran has the potential to be Dubai times 1,000. If 10 million people leave your country, then your country is doing something wrong. I feel sorry for the Palestinian people. I want Palestine freed, but I want it to be freed from Hamas. If we wanted to commit genocide, it would take one afternoon. When someone says to me, oh, worship this religion, I'm like, okay, why should I worship this religion? I would say it's like a made-up version of Islam, which is even worse than the original Islam. The Islamists are the biggest threat to this regime. Yeah, well, then society was different. Then why do you live by the same laws now? If society was different back then. The problem with the Keir Starmer government is that they use empathy or they use fear as a mechanism or as a tactic to impose control. As soon as this guy takes over, everything starts going down. The first thing that he does, he executes hundreds of thousands of people. Like the whole world should become Muslims in their eyes. Go and read the Quran. Go and read it in your own language so you know exactly what it says. All I'm going to say is that societies start becoming unstable when you have 30% Muslim population.
Become the voice, become the mission. Born here or born afar. If you love this land, don't have faith in politicians, then here you are. Stand up, be free, this is your place. Every voice, every face. No more waiting, no more lies. Raise your flag, open your eyes. Tired of silence, tired of spin. The fight for truth must now begin. Black or white or brown or gold, freedom's banner must be